a visit to Hanley Farm.
Today we are at the Rogue Valley Farm to School program here at Hanley Farm, and I want to introduce you all to Rebecca Slosberg and Ryan Isdo-Weisz. And Rebecca, you're the co-executive director, correct?
Correct.
And I would love for you to tell us a little bit about the program and give us kind of the scoop on what's going on here, because we've got lots of kids here today.
Yeah. So Rogue Valley Farm to School does a bunch of different programs to support building a culture of health at schools in the region. And so today we have a fifth grade class from Sands Valley Elementary School, one of our partner schools, out here on the farm. So our partner classes get to do a bunch of different things throughout the year, including coming out on farm field trips. So they get to come out in the fall, and then they get to come back in the spring. So they get to see the farm in 2 different seasons. And so they're out, they're harvesting food, they're preparing it, they're visiting with the sheep, and then they get to sit down and enjoy that farm fresh meal that they've made. So that's the farm field trip piece. And then Ryan gets to be out with this class once a week out in the garden. And the garden at Sands Valley is really more like a little mini farm, but all of our partner classes have gardens. And so we have 8 schools in our partnership program called the Digging Deeper School Partnership. All the Central Point schools, 5 elementary schools, and the 3 elementaries in Phoenix Talent. And so we have garden educators that are there each week with those partner classes. Usually it's 1 or 2 grade levels, 3rd through 5th grade. And so they're out in the garden with their garden educator, and they're doing garden work and learning some of those cooking skills out in the garden, but they're also, we kind of think of those hard skills, but then there's also a lot of relationship building and just connection to taking care of something in the farm or at the garden, working together on projects, learning about where their food, where the food can come from, how to grow food. So those weekly garden classes are an opportunity for a lot of different kinds of learning.
So, don't eat a ladybug, please. So the mint, you guys can pick one of the leaves, give it a smell. Here's what I'm going to tell you about eating the mint. It's going to taste like a toothpaste salad.
I like it. This is garden life. It is really cool.
And then we also do monthly tasting tables at all those partner schools. And so that's a chance for the whole school to get to try local produce. And so we've done things like beets and potatoes and microgreens. So this year when we did beets, we had beet brownies and we had pickled beets. And so as they come through the lunch line or when they come into the cafeteria with their cold lunch, they get to come up and they get to try a little sample of something. So for example, with the beets, and then they get to, say, well, I tried it, I liked it, or I loved it. There's no, I didn't like it. That's not an option. So that's just,
use
building,
that one at home.
Yes. If nothing else, you tried it, and that's all, and if they don't want to try it, that's okay too. It's just an opportunity to try something new, and also for us to be able to highlight local farmers. So we have some information on the featured farmer. We ask some kind of kid-friendly questions about the farm, so the kids get to learn a little bit about the farm. And then we also send out that information to the families with recipes and activities and the information about the farm. That's part of our Harvest of the Month program, those tasting tables once a month. And then kind of the last piece of that Digging Deeper School Partnership is support from our staff, which is one of my favorite parts of my job, is I get to meet with the teachers, with the educator, and talk about how do we integrate what's going on in the garden back into your classroom, and how do you bring what's in the classroom out to the garden with the educator. So really trying to make it not just one more thing for teachers to do, because we know that teachers are very busy, overwhelmed people, but really supporting them with the things that they already need to do. So we try to align those state standards. So if they're doing fractions in the classroom, we can do lessons around fractions out in the garden. So really kind of bringing that into, as another classroom to be out in the garden.
And so, Ryan, I know you're pretty heavily involved on the school side of with the kids directly.
Exactly.
And I'd just love to kind of hear some of your experience. I know this has always been a passion of yours, and you're working, you said, in one of the Sam's Valley school systems.
That's right. I'm working at Sam's Valley Elementary, and I get the fun part. I get to work with the kids, and I basically take them on a little journey from planting seeds to growing plants to harvesting to eating and cooking and preparing. And again, like Rebecca was saying, we try to integrate some of the school curriculum into the activities that we're doing. So like if we're working on fractions, we'll be doing a lot of recipes that we need to double or triple to help with those fractions. I have a couple of classes where every time I use a fraction when I'm talking about a recipe, they have to cheer. And it's really great because they love it. Like they wait for me there on the edge of their seat, and I'll play with them a little bit and be like, well, if I was to take this thing right here and not actually say the fraction. So they're getting ready, and then they just stop. And I get to watch them. I get to watch them be present in the garden and get their hands dirty and work together and be patient and wait for plants to grow and things to ripen. And I mean, it's I get the fun part. So
Excellent.
So that's all the kind of Digging Deeper School Partnership. We're doing some other programs outside of that. We do some preschool through second grade field trips. That's open to anyone that signs up, and so they get to come out to the farm for exploration. And we're working with a couple schools in a little bit more limited way, doing some of those same pieces, but not with a direct garden educator. So supporting them with curriculum and coaching and kind of all the pieces to do those, but we don't have a garden educator. So those are a couple of schools, one school in Ashland and a Medford school.
Excellent.
That's
Yeah,
all
that's
that. Yeah. And then there's a whole nother side of what we do, which is kind of the procurement piece. And so we also work really hard. We have a team. We have 2 registered dietitians and a chef.
Oh, wow.
And so we're working really hard to facilitate schools purchasing and using local produce. So
Which is so needed.
it seems like, and it's such a win-win. It's not a simple thing. School meals are very complicated, but we work really hard to try to take down some of those barriers and make it as easy as possible for schools to purchase food, and then also giving them the resources and technical assistance to use it and to incorporate it into their menus or into their salad bars and things. So we work really hard on getting more of that food from the Rogue Valley into the Rogue Valley schools.
Excellent. So where do you get most of your funding, and how can people get involved if they want to support?
Yeah, so we get some of our funding through grants. We have private foundations that we apply for that we get grants. We also have some state grant funding. We've had some federal funding in the past. So that makes up a portion and takes a lot of staff time and work, right, to write those grants and constantly be applying for those grants. So we're trying to really diversify more. We love that community support of having individual donors. We do fundraisers. We're doing our big annual fundraiser.
Yes.
Turn Up the Beat coming up here. It's going to be a concert out at Fry Family Farm. Brothers Reed are playing, and there'll be amazing farm fresh pizzas and salads. So you can purchase tickets for that. Turn up the beat.
And when is that?
That is June 25th. It's a Sunday
Is it during the day?
Yeah,
Okay.
late afternoon.
Yeah.
Yeah. So check that out. Go to our website, and you can learn about Turn Up the Beat and buy tickets there. And then we are starting to do a little bit more of this kind of fee-for-service model of supporting organizations to, support them with that kind of like those pieces I was mentioning, like the coaching and curriculum development. And that's kind of just a realm we're just moving into a little bit. Some of those pieces, we don't charge the schools the cost of the programs. It's never going to be a realistic model. So we need to fundraise for those public schools to be able to have these kinds of programs. But there are some organizations and other opportunities where we can provide some of the services that we do in a fee-for-service model. So that's something that we're moving into a little bit as well.
Wonderful. So many exciting things happening. It's quite a depth of program.
Yeah, we do a lot. Yeah.
Well, I'm so glad hearing these programs are available because I think it's really important. People know where their food comes from, and it's amazing how so many people can get to adulthood and not really have a good sense of that. And also cooking skills. I mean, that is just a lifelong skill set that you're going to use. So I think that's really important as well. So thank you so much for doing this work, and we're excited to showcase a little bit today. You'll get to see, we've done a little bit of a tour and getting to see the kids in action and the stuff that they're learning. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Sawana.
All right. Well, we hope you'll be a part of this program in one way or another, and definitely encourage you to attend the event on June 25th. Keep an eye out for other events that they're doing, and maybe even donate. All right, well, thanks so much, and we'll see you again.